Good morning. Today's Wednesday, the 8th day of Menachem Av. Tonight is going to be Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is the time that the morning for the destruction of both temples. And we hope that by tonight we're going to be celebrating. Mashiach is coming. It will be a celebration. If God forbid Mashiach delays another day, that means that we're going to be fasting here in New York. In Brooklyn, the fast begins at 8:14 p.m. tonight. And on Tisha B'Av, we're not allowed to eat until tomorrow night, about 8:44. And we don't shower, we don't eat, we don't drink. And also one of the things we're not allowed is to study Torah, because Torah brings happiness. Only certain parts of the Torah, which is more of the sad stories of the destruction and so on. So tomorrow, we're going to have this class in the evening, right before the end of the fast. And that will be 8 p.m. So tomorrow, 8 p.m., we're going to have this class. And we're going to have the lectures on Zoom. So let's get to the the Tanya class of today. We learned yesterday something amazing about the mitzvah of tzedakah. And the Alter Rebbe explained, he quoted a verse in Isaiah that says that Vayilbash tzedakah kashiryan, that Hashem wore tzedakah as a coat of mail, an armored coat. The kova Yeshua beroisha, and a helmet of redemption, of salvation on his head. So the Alter Rebbe explained what that means. That what is the idea of this coat of armor is made out of. It's made out of these holes and has the plates that covers the holes. And that makes the armor. We showed. We're going to show again this picture. So this is the coat of armor, that it has these scales, and the plates cover the holes. So we explained that this is a metaphor, and that is, he explained there is the two types of light that come from Hashem to emanate the world, to bring the light to sustain the world. And there is the light that comes from Hashem that goes in a limited way, and it is called Or Pnimi, the inner light. And it is a very filtered light, which is only fits to this world. But then there is a higher light, which is called Or Makif, the surrounding light. Now, when a person does a mitzvah, any mitzvah, the mitzvah being that a mitzvah comes from the will of Hashem. The will of Hashem is above everything. So therefore, he connects directly with the higher light. And when we do the mitzvah, we say L'Shem Yichud Kucha Berichu. We are uniting the Kucha Berichu, which is Kucha Berichu is Hashem, God, the way He is in the higher level. Because the word Kucha means Kadosh, which represents holy. Holy means separated, elevated. And we're uniting this light with the inner light, with Shchinte. The Shechina is the inner light. And when we're uniting these two lights, we bring about the new light that we are able to bring into this world. So he says, but this is true with every mitzvah. But when we're talking about the mitzvah of tzedakah, this is like the armor, meaning that this light, what happens with this light that we create through the mitzvah, this is a very powerful light, we are not able to enjoy it, to appreciate this in this world. Because this world is too low to be able to appreciate such an intense light. But when we're talking about the mitzvah of tzedakah, it is like there is holes in this garment. The mitzvah creates a garment from this light, and that tzedakah is like the armor that has hole in this garment, meaning that there's from these holes you can have also this light coming in this world. However, when there is holes in the garment and the light flows, so to speak, it can go also to the wrong places. This is where the plates come that covers the hole. And the plates are also a very intense light, which enables to cover the hole that no other outside elements are able to nourish from this light. So, and today, the Alter Rebbe continues to explain what causes this light to bring down to this world, being that this is such a tremendous, powerful light. How can you bring down such a powerful light to this world? So this is what the Alter Rebbe is going to explain now. So we're going to go to the Tanya. Says the Alter Rebbe, Achmiyu ha-goyrem liyiridas ha'oyer ve'ashefa la'olam hazeh hagashmi miyud sfiros hanikroim gufa. He says, who or what is the cause that causes the descent of this to this physical world, of this light, which comes to this world from the 10 sephiros. The 10 sephiros is from the world of Atzilus. We said this is the highest spiritual world. And these 10 sephiros are called gufa. They're called the body. So, in other words, being that this world is so limited, is so physical, how can this world contain such a powerful light? Says the Alter Rebbe, Hu ha-yichud hanal. This is caused by the union that we mentioned earlier, the union between the higher world, between the higher light, or a makif, or the kutchabricha, and the lower light, or a pnimi. In other words, how can you make such a union? What brings about such a union? So he explains. Shehi teisefes ha'ore ve'ashpa mibchinas oir ein soif ha'matzi la'elyon baruch hu. The additional radiation and the flow that comes from the light of the Ein Sof, who is the supreme emanator of the 10 Sephiros, beyeser se'eis ala ore ve'ashpo shebetchilas yitzilus ve'yishtalshelus. And this is a much greater light than what shines in the beginning of the Atzilus, of the world of Atzilus, and which is the beginning, the emanation in the world, and the subsequent ishtalshalut, which is the evolution which comes down from Atzilus. Now, in other words, what he's saying, when you have such a powerful light that is compared to this light of Hashem, it is so powerful that the higher worlds and the lower worlds are all equal. Being that they're all equal, so therefore, with this power of this tremendous light, we're able to bring down this godly light even into this lower worlds. And where does it begin? Where is the beginning of the revelation of this light? So it says, "V'reishis teisves ha'ore ve'ashpa'ah ila reishis ha'yutzfiris." The additional radiation and effluence is first bestowed upon in the sphere of Chachma. Chachma is the highest level, the highest attribute, which is the first of the 10 attributes. Now the Alter Rebbe explains that verse that we mentioned earlier. V'zeu v'koiva Yeshua b'roishai. This is the meaning, what we mentioned in the phrase above, that the helmet of salvation, Yeshua is salvation, upon his head. That's what the verse said. The verse said that he had a garment like an armor, like a coat of mail, and a helmet of salvation. The Alter Rebbe explains what that means. Yeshua, umiloshin vayisha Hashem el hevel v'menchasei. What does the word Yeshua mean? Yeshua means salvation. But Yeshua also comes from the root Vayisha, at the beginning of the book of the story of Genesis. We know the story of Cain and Abel, the two brothers. They brought an offerings to Hashem, and God accepted Abel's offering, but he did not accept Cain's offering. And that caused jealousy, and that's why Cain ended up killing Abel. But the word that Hashem turned to Abel, it uses the word Vayisha. So we see that the word Vayisha, which means salvation, it has the idea, the meaning of the turning. So what does that mean when we're talking about turning? When Hashem turns to you, it is what this means is there is sometimes a person relates to someone else in details. Let's say you teach someone something, you give him some attention. You help someone financially, so you give him financially. The turning of a person to another person is the turning of the entire being. You call someone and say, yes, I'm here. There's the story of the TZEDAKA when he was a little child, and his grandfather raised him because his mother passed away young. So he was playing with the Alter. He was playing in the room where the Alter Rebbe was, and his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, asked him, "Where is Grandpa?" So he pointed at his hand, and his grandfather told him, "No, that's not Grandpa. That's Grandpa's hand." So he pointed at his beard, if I remember correctly. He says, "No, that's Grandpa's beard." So the child didn't answer. He was a little child, but very smart. And then he continued to play. And after a few minutes, he screamed. He said, "Grandpa!" And his grandfather turned around, and then the child says, "This is Grandpa." That's the turning around, is the turning of everything. So what we're saying is that when a person does tzedakah, it causes that will be the koiva Yeshua b'roshei, that the helmet of Yeshua, of the turning, that Hashem turns everything on his head. In the beginning, the head is the beginning of the person, the beginning of the 10 spheres. So we bring the everything of Hashem. And then the Alter Rebbe says another thing Kabbalistically. What the idea of Yeshua, he says, Vehu yerida sa'oyer ve'ashefa, the shin ayin nehoirin shebezoyar HaKodesh. Also, it represents the tremendous light and the shefa, the abundance that comes from 370 nehorim, 370 lights that it says in the Holy Zohar. What is the idea of 370? We know we have the three intellects, Chachma, Bina, and Das, and we have the 7 emotions. So the 3 intellects, the roots of the 3 intellects is rooted in each one in 100. Because altogether you have 10 attributes. So the level of Chachma, of wisdom, which is the first part of the intellect, has the Chachma Sheba Chachma, Bina Sheba Chachma. It has 10 parts. It is made out of 10 different parts. The 10 attributes which are included in the Chachma, and these 10 are included also from 10. That makes it complete. So this is the 10, the 3 intellects times 100. This is the 300. Then the 70 is the roots of the midos, the roots of the emotional attributes, and each one of them contained of 10. So that is in the roots of the lights of all the emotions and the intellect, which makes up the entire body. This, says the Zohar, this is the root of the Shin Ayin, the 370 lights. And when you do the tzedakah, you reach to this level of bringing down this tremendous 370 lights. And it says in the verse in the Torah, Yoir Hashem panav elecha, that may God make his face shine upon you. This we say by Birkat Kohanim, in the blessing of the Kohanim. Then we have another verse that says, Yoyer panav itanu selah, that Hashem will shine his face to us forever. This is bringing the itanu. What is itanu? With us means that it's through the practice of charitable deeds. Why? Because charitable deeds is what Hashem does. Hashem giving us is charity. So when we do that part, that's why charity is called the mitzvah. We do that part, we emulate Hashem, and we bring upon us also this light, the inner light of Hashem. This is the meaning of the phrase when it says that the one, he who sows tzedakah, when you plant, you sow tzedakah. Matzmiach Yeshua is it brings forth Yeshuot, salvations. That means that sometimes you plant and you don't see it right away, but you know it's there, and you know it's going to grow, and you know it's Matzmiach Yeshua. There's a story with the Alter Rebbe when it was after the Alter Rebbe was released from prison. The next year they made a big celebration on the 19th day of Kislev, and the Alter Rebbe was standing there himself. He participated in this celebration, and he gave out the mashke. Let's just finish we'll finish the Tanya, and I'll continue the story. I'll just say, this may God make his face shine upon them, tzidkasam imedes la'ad, and the tzedakah shall endure forever. Vekarnom torum b'Yeshuas matzmiach keren Yeshua. May your horn, he turns to the people who give the tzedakah, may your horn be exalted by the salvation, Yeshua, of the one who causes the horn, salvation, to sprout. Tzemach tzedakah me'akoiva Yeshua anal, it should become from the helmet of salvation mentioned above, kenefesh tidreshanu, as is the wish of the one who seeks him. So to continue this story with this, the koiva Yeshua, this is the Alter Rebbe, when he was giving out the mashke. For this, he had a big pot of mashke, and he was taking out and giving to the Hasidim, and the Hasidim were dancing and celebrating. And then one Hasid, the Hasid was there. He was also coming to get some mashke, and his hat fell into the pot of mashke. And immediately he took the hat and he put it back on, and he started continued dancing. So the Alter Rebbe said, this is Koiva Yeshua Bereishay. And he has a helmet of salvation on his head. And that Chassid ended up having such a year, a tremendous, amazing, successful year. And the next year, when somebody, the Alter Rebbe continued the same celebration the following year, but there was another Chassid that tried to do a trick, and he put his head, he threw his head into the pot, but this time it didn't work. So the idea is here the power of the tzedakah, that this brings upon such tremendous Yeshua. It brings, with emulating Hashem's deeds that Hashem gives tzedakah, we give tzedakah. It brings upon the higher level of the light of Hashem, and it is something that we're able to enjoy in this world. That we say in the Mishnah that is the fruit we eat in this world, and the principle is left for the world to come. So this is the end of today's shir, and let us hope that tonight we're going to be celebrating with Mashiach, the coming of the Beis Hamikdash, and if not, God forbid, we'll be able to continue tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, 8 p.m. We'll have the class. All the best. If anybody has any questions, please, this now is the time.